Hello, everyone. So today I'll be going over me and Braden's case study project. For our location, we chose to do the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. So, a brief overview and history of the protected area. But prior to becoming a protected area, the Black Canyon of the Gunnison was inhabited by two Native American tribes. This included the Apache and Ute tribes. The park was established as a national monument on March 2nd, 1933, and then redesignated as a national park on October 21st, 1999. So, how did this area become declared a protected area? So, there were many main reasons or individuals and organizations, including the Colorado Mountain Club and the National Parks Association, who were instrumental in advocating for the preservation of the Black Canyon. Um, Tying into that, the major stakeholders and actors in the park are the National Park Service, and there is also some local, state, and local governments that have stake in the Black Canyon. So, was any of this process of becoming a protected area contested at all? It was generally well received by most people, but there were some concerns that arose. The NPS was concerned about the land use and access, while the state government and some litigators were concerned about government funding, and also there were some local economic concerns, but it was mostly well received. So, in order to become a park, there was some evictions that had to take place. Like I said earlier, there was the Utes and the Apaches present, and but it should be noted that many of these tribes did not inhabit or hunt in the canyon, had a superstition, so they were mostly outside of the canyon. Um, it was singled out to be a PA or protected area because of its unique geology and scenic views. Based on the video I played in the background, I think you can totally understand why. Um, just a little fun fact, the canyon itself is so steep that the inner rocks only receive about 30 minutes of sunlight per day, making them look black. That's where the name came from. So, yeah. And according to my findings, the Black Canyon of the Gunnison is the United States wilderness area, and due to it being a United States area, wilderness area, that would make its IUCN classification IUCN 1B or L.
And I will be talking to you today about the direct threats in the Black Canyon of the Gunnison in Colorado. So the first threats I'd like to talk about are the invasive species which threaten the natural ecosystems and fisheries found within the canyon. Another direct threat that I'd like to talk about is crowd control / tourism. Tourism leads to unwanted animal interactions and typically a lot of trash left behind. Another direct threat that I would like to talk about is urbanization / land development or land management. Overgrowing populations of people typically will threaten the land, more people in the area, and those are the three direct threats that I am going to talk about, with the main threat being invasive species. New Zealand mud snails are a horrible addition to the ecosystem and can be very damaging. The New Zealand mud snails are an invasive species that are transmitted mostly through the bottoms of boats, and although that there are not any currently in the Black Canyon, Colorado and neighboring states have been battling this issue for many years. The mud snails are detrimental to food sources and have the ability to repopulate at an unfathomable rate. This change in the river ecosystem will be detrimental to the fisheries in the canyon. Next, I'd like to move on to the underlying causes. Incorrect boat practices are typically a big one. Bucket biologists are also an underlying cause. And finally, the non-compliance with invasive species prevention practices. An indirect threat to all this would be humans, obviously. We have a big kind of footprint that we leave behind when it comes to these certain problems. And then next, I'd just like to give a brief history about mud snails. So originally they were found in central Colorado around Lake Erie, Erie Country, or Erie County, Spring Creek, and Bald Eagle Creek. But after recent studies done in 2020, they found that snails migrating southwest towards Tyndall Spring Run, Cucumber County, Corondis Creek, York County, and Valley Creek. Thank you. Next, I will be talking to you about how the Black Canyon of the Gunnison manages these threats. Specifically with the New Zealand mud snails, there are many precautions in place. Boat weigh-in stations at the marina stop every boat and ask about its history. If the boat has seen water recently, there are steps that need to be taken by you and the rangers to ensure that they don't transfer the snails. Those steps include washing the boat hull with high pressure hot water, draining all compartments and standing water inside the boat, and also any outside bait must be dumped outside of the fishing area. None of the bait that was brought into the fishing area / lake cannot be dumped back into the lake. This is to ensure that the animals are eating the same food that they are strictly with, and not, there's no introduction of new species or even new bait. Proper cleaning of your boat is encouraged, and most places make you dry your boat out for a certain amount of time before being able to enter the river system. Rangers then come and inspect your boat to make sure that you have complied with all the rules before you are allowed to set afloat. Whether or not this practice is successful or not, I would say so, given the fact that mud snails are currently not found in the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. If we keep up with our due diligence as boaters and comply with safety precautions, we can prevent the introduction of snails. Thank you.
So, in this part, we will be talking about three key management principles which are addressed within the park. The first key management principle being visitor experience. So how do they apply? In my opinion, in our opinion, the visitor experience is very important. Without people coming to see the area, funds will decrease. Visitor centers will deteriorate and trails will fade away. It is important to keep people intrigued to see the area so that the protected area will keep increasing in overall quality and value to people. The second key management principle is commercial and community engagement. Fishing is huge within the Black Canyon through social indicators like permits, vessel landings, and fish dealers. The Gunnison River within the Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park is designated as gold medal water and wild trout water. This means that special regulations are required to maintain gold medal quality standards. The third key management principle is conservation/preservation. Preserving natural resources within the Black Canyon is very important, and preserving resources in general is important. The need to protect the unique natural resources and formations within the park and historical features as well as animal species and vegetation is incredibly important. We want everybody and everyone to be able to enjoy this for generations. There are currently over 125 bird species, 46 mammal species, and over 12 species of reptiles and amphibians living within the Black Canyon.